Hello, in this video I have two volumes set up for post-processing. This one is a kind of vignette effect volume, and as you can see it's got a little bit of a fall off from it. So if I click on this, you'll see it's got a blend distance of 10. You can see I can decrease this or increase it. So basically there's going to be a mix between the two effects here, and this volume is a lens effect. So in order to make these, I've just created a new volume, and you choose global volume, and you can always add a box collider to it to keep that field that you want the effect to be in. Okay, so I'm just going to delete that. So I've already set these up, and for each one I've made a new post-process. So you can right click and do create post-process profile, or because this is a volume, you can actually add the effect inside. You can click new here and it will create a new one for you, and just name it, and then so you get the two different effects here. And as I move into this area, we'll get one effect, and this area will get the other effect. Now you don't see it here because I have turned off the post-processing just to make life a little bit easier, so I've turned it off here. But I've got a movement script attached to the camera. I'm just going to show you how that works here. So I'll click play. So as you can see, as I move into the lens effect area, it starts to have an effect, and when I'm completely in the volume, it's got full effect here, and it's a really distorted lens effect. So it's got a little bit of the chromatic aberration plus lens distortion. And now as I move out of that volume, we start to get the blend towards the vignette area, and when I'm in the vignette area, this is the effect of that. So you can get different effects for different rooms as you go between these two zones, and that can be good for adding drama to your scene if you're entering some kind of boss area. Or just to change the mood slightly, or any kind of effects like looking down a telescope like this, or a microscope. Okay, so that's pretty much that. Let me just double check I've covered everything here. So you make your volume. Now I think you can actually create a volume, a box volume. Yeah, and it already adds a collider for you, and then you can create your new profile in here, or drag that over. Now it doesn't look like it's the same kind of thing, because that would let me select that. So there seems to be a different kind of volume completely, and post-processing, it kind of looks the same, to be fair. There's a few extra things in here as well. Let's try vignette just to see if this works. Okay, well, it works with the V2. Alright, we'll just stick with what we've got then. So you don't want to be using these box volumes. Let's just get rid of that and get rid of that one. I don't really know what that is just yet, but you want to be creating a new volume, global volume, and then you can basically drag one of these in here. No, that doesn't work. Wait a minute, how did I do this again? How strange. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, you want to just create an empty object. Sorry about that, and memory lapse. Memory lapse just happened. So you want to make a new object, call it post-process volume, right? And then in here, add component, type in post-process volume, right? And that creates this here. Now if you check as global, it's going to affect everything. It's not going to be based on these collision boxes, which I've yet to add. But if you check as global, and I'll make a new profile. I'll do it here just to keep all my profiles in the same place. So you want to go to post-processing profile, I usually call them PPP something. I'll call this PPP bloom, right? Because I just want to go from zone to zone. And back to this. I'm just going to put this up here, and I'm going to actually rename it the way I've named these. So I'll call it PPP bloom. And now I can add a box collider. Okay, I should be able to see that roughly. I'm just going to check what these are. So 10, 10, 10 and blend distance 10. Okay, let's change those to 10 and a blend distance also to 10, wherever it went. Oh yeah, just uncheck as global and then you get that there. I'm going to move this by resetting. And there we go. So now I can move this over here and get a blend between the three. Let's just grab one of these labels. Call this bloom area. Right. These labels are made by adding a 3D object and then 3D text. So now that that volume has been added, I just want to drag the bloom post-process in here. And I just have to tell it to add an effect called bloom. So I'll add bloom in there. And I want to see what's happening with it. So what I can do is just go to the post-process bloom and enable as global. Right, so we're going to basically see it working as soon as I bring in some of these values. We should do at least. Let me just make sure get everything switched on. Hard to tell if it's working just yet. Let me enable the post-processing here. And we really need something quite shiny to see it. Go ahead and put the camera in that area. Oh, you see how the camera gets effect as it approaches these zones. We see these two effects here. And let's move it into the bloom. I'm just going to rotate it around to see if I can see any change. It might not be picking it up well enough, or it could be that the camera doesn't have something enabled like HDR. Sometimes it requires these. Let's go back to bloom again and let's just play around with these settings. It should work. Should definitely work. I've had it working before. Let's try fast mode. Alright, let's just try something else just to make sure it's working. I'll go for, let's do vignette again just to make sure, because vignette's the easiest one to test. Okay, we're not getting that right now. So let's just play the debug game and think about this. Okay, so that's the volume there. Let's bring the camera into that area. Definitely in there. Okay, there's something I forgot to do. So you see this here, how these are on post-process. I just need to change this one to post-process, prepare yourself. Oh, okay, it wasn't so bad. Go back to this now, and I'll just get rid of the vignette. And I'm just gonna work on that bloom now. There we go. Bring that down and play with the intensity. Let's also add some kind of color grading, and let's add a bit of contrast just for effect. Let's really saturate it as well. So now we've got those three effects. If I move the camera around those areas, you can see it goes from one to the other. It kind of has that blend distance where it mixes between them. Cool, and let's just give it a go. So I'm in the bloom area, and I want to sort of go to the vignette area and to the lens effect area. So it's 3 post-processing profiles. That one is really trippy, and they blend between each other based on these larger volumes you see. Now you might want to turn these off, so just go to your gizmos and be sure to turn off the volumes here so you don't see them. That way we're just seeing the effect. You get kind of a mix of all 3 effects there. Got the bloom, and then it fades away as we move away from it. Lens effect. And the vignette effect. So I'll just click on that again. You can see, let me bring that back up. You got the actual cubes where the strength is at 1 when you're in here. So it's the full effect. It's kind of like it being global. And then as you move away from there, it fades away to nothing, or it'll mix between different effects. So again, how to make these up: you make a game object, just an empty object, call it PPP something, right? Whatever effect you want to have, like ambient occlusion or grain. You're going to add the component post-process volume, change the layer to post-process, leave this global off if you want it to be like one of these volumes that change when you get into it. If you want it to be an overall effect for your game, you maybe just have one, right? You just have one effect and you just check as global. You can always switch them in and out later, but so I'll just leave it like that. Blend distance 10. Now it needs a box collider to work out that volume, so box collider is how it does it, and you can always change that to a trigger later if you want to collide with it or something, and it should work the same. Let me just double check, put my money where my mouth is and just check that's the case. So if I choose these and change these to trigger, they should still work. Let's just choose this one. I'm just going to reset the position and then move it over here, and then I'm going to make that label. So I'll just grab some text and just going to duplicate that and call this the grain area, not the area where you get grain, but the grain effect. Okay, so that done. We've got our volume here set up. We just need the profile. So I'll create a post-processing profile, PPP grain, go into that, add effect, Unity grain, right, and I'll just enable quite a few of these, put the intensity way up. Okay, so now if I move the camera around, we should get some grain effect in here. Oh, it's miles away. Right, I can't really see it just yet. Really gonna turn that around. Let's just see. Okay, got the green. It's really hard to see if it's actually doing anything. Let's add an effect just to make sure. I usually like to test with vignette. It's the easiest thing to check. That's not doing anything yet. So let's see, we've got the bloom, post-process. Yeah, that's all good. The grain, I've not added it in here, right? So you have to drag that in there. There we go. So there's the grain effect. And now if I move the camera around, we go between each effect. It even has an effect up here. I just need to turn off the post-process settings. Move that around like that. You can see there's the lens effect. It's the bloom effect. And let's just play the game just to see it properly. So bloom area, everything looks all bloomy. The vignette area, the grain area. I like how you get the mix between them. And we've got the lens effect area here. And kind of mix of a few of them in the middle. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial. If you need any more help, just post a message below. If you think this tutorial sucked, put a thumbs down. If you think this tutorial was worth your while, put a thumbs up. And be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, bye!